going to be going over issue number 6, guest starring Captain America and Daredevil. How does Daredevil always know to look towards the front? And this one's titled 3 Against the Odds. Oh, here we go. So if you remember from last issue, Chris and his family were at a museum in New York where they had a hitman come up from Philip Bazin try to kill his mom, Grace. Chris avowed at the end to take vengeance on Philip Bazin, and that's what he's doing. He's hopping over his wall here, gets shot at by some of his goons there, but of course they're no match for him. He's got the Dark Force blast, shields popping up, knocking dudes over with the Dark Force blast, deflecting bullets, kneeing dudes in the face with a crunk. So he's going through there just tearing up everything. And he even talks about how unfair it is, so it's almost not fair to use them like this. But he starts flashing back to the previous episode about how the assassin came after his mom. And, while he's doing all this while fighting, just kind of justifying what he's doing, talking about his dad taking a payoff from one of Bazin's goons, slashes this dude across the fucking face. That's gotta hurt. And then, he gets distracted thinking about his mom. Whoops, spoilers. Distracted by his mom because last issue she was obviously under some stress. And he gets distracted. Dude shoots him straight in the head. But luckily, it just bounces off. And Darkhawk probably kills him. I don't know how this guy lived through that. But, we'll just say he lived. He's probably scarred for life and maybe paraplegic or something. I don't know. So anyway, Darkhawk breaks into the house. And sure enough, Philip Bazin sitting there in a very stereotypical villain pose. He just needs a cat or something to be petting. So he offers to try to talk with Darkhawk. Of course, he does not take too kindly to that. Lifts him up, never. And today there's no mercy left. But then, oh, what is this? Philip's got a family, right? So we've got Broderick Bazin there, Allegra Bazin, and young Andrew Bazin. And so now Darkhawk is faced with a choice. Is he going to be the guy, that he doesn't want to be? So he realizes that he's got a family like me. They've always got, so he's going through some internal turmoil there. And then Chris / Darkhawk says he can't do it. Chucks Bazin against the couch. He realizes he can't destroy a man who has a family. And then Allegra comes over, boxes him one right in the chest. And, oh, wait, I'm sorry. My bad. Allegra is his daughter, not his wife. There you go. So Darkhawk says later, takes off. That's it. Bazin says accelerate Project Lodestone, which we'll figure out what that is next issue, I believe. But saying his power, or he must be destroyed, and his power with Bazin. So that story will continue. So the next day in Queens, we got Chris here doing a reverse dunk on his two little brothers, which is, kind of douchey. But you also notice the hair, the mullet's gone. And Chris talks that, but there's just two of you against one of me and my cool new haircut. So Chris is finally catching up with the times, getting rid of the mullet. So John, Jason, they keep on. Jason, Jonathan, Chris just playing some b-ball. And then Chris overhears some commotion going on. Goes, checks it out. And then, Grace is here with the NYPD shirt and said, Jimmy, you can't tell me there's nothing my husband said before he disappeared that there could be a clue to what's happening to him. I can't think of a thing. Mike's a cop like us. We won't rest until we find him if he wants to be found and clear his name. Long story short, they're just trying to figure out exactly what happened to Mike and where he bailed and went off to. So flash forward over to the New York City Hospital, guarded by a SWAT team and two guardsmen. They're waiting for Portal to wake up, and they got Captain America in there and checking the medical charts because he's also, a captain of medicine. And it's hard to believe he actually has the powers to cross dimensional barriers, but I know from experience he does, as we see in Avengers 304. Chris goes here to check it out. He's got to see Portal, figure out what's going on, find out where and how he got the pieces of the armor that look like Darkhawks, and asking some questions and all this stuff. We all saw that last year. So he just goes up to a random security dude here. Tell me where Charles Little Sky is. That's Portal. Oh man, how'd you get past security? On his face, and then boom, here, the UFOs in all their glory. So for anybody who doesn't know the UFOs, there's 4 of them. Very similar kind of like the evil version of the Fantastic Four is the best way to think about it. They got their powers in a very similar cosmic ray-induced accident. So we have got Ironclad, obviously the metal gentleman right there. He has a metallic hide all over his body, kind of similar to Colossus, but I don't think he can turn it off. He can control his density, and he's pretty strong. And then we have got Vapor, I believe. So she basically can turn into any gas. Uh, yeah, that's her power. Basically, any gas she can think of, she can turn into. And then we've also got X-Ray up here. He can basically command radiation of all classifications and use them to project out like beams and all that typical stuff. And then we got Vector. His power is a little odd. So he basically has the ability to repel anything, no matter its weight or size. It's the easiest way to think about it. So random security guy here with the backwards hat, he decides, fuck the UFOs. He's going for him. No one gets Little Sky. Hold him back, man. So goes charging after him. Probably not going to work out too well. Chris sneaks away in the closet, and then changes into Darkhawk. And then, nope, okay. So he goes back out, boom, and then Captain America heard all the commotion, comes out to try to stop him. I'm assuming that's the hand of the dude with the backwards ball cap. Rest in peace, bro. You did well. So they got Vector here repelling off Captain America. Darkhawk comes through, punches Ironclad through the wall. And then outside, a lawyer heads for a court appointment. His name's Matt Murdock. You guys all know who he is, and he hears a large humanoid figure hurling through the air with his senses. So he strips off and becomes Daredevil. So you got Darkhawk and Captain America teaming up to fight off the UFOs. So you see Vapor coming over here, turning into chlorine gas, right? So you think that would be a thing for Darkhawk. But then he realizes he doesn't need to breathe. So that's something we'll touch on later. But basically, the chlorine gas doesn't do anything against him. And so him and Vector, Vector. I always get Vector and X-Ray confused. So they go at it, try to fight each other off here. Ironclad comes back up, but Daredevil comes in and does a little Hurricane Rana action to flip him over. Darkhawk's really impressed. Daredevil, wow! And wow, this Darkhawk character is new. Yeah, and then we get Darkhawk blasting one of them off here. Gosh, with the color change, it's really hard. Vector. I'm going to say it's Vector. And then Ironclad falls out the window if you're being missed by, or Daredevil dodging there. Chris and Captain America team up to blast X-Ray and even get a Darkhawk thank heaven, which Chris is very ecstatic about. Blows the UFOs out of the hospital. And then all three of the heroes are standing up, look down there, and then, oh, he's got a baby. He's got a baby. If you're going to take a hostage, make it a baby, I always say. That's actually pretty good advice. So you got the UFOs basically kidnapping a mother, holding the baby hostage. Daredevil comes up, he's pissed. He tries to go for it, gets blasted. And then Chris decides to do the exact same thing, going for the kid. Vapor is transforming into mustard gas, which, I mean, should pretty much kill everybody in there. But Daredevil's there, and he lets loose his billy club and dissipates her before she can do any harm with a little whirlpool and scatters her to the wind. Captain America comes down, hits Ironclad right in the face, knocks him down. Daredevil swings in, grabs the baby, swings us around the corner, lets him go off. And then you got X-Ray blasting at him here, chasing. Ironclad grabs him from behind, and then you got Vector hitting Daredevil with one of his repellent blasts. And then X-Ray and Vapor giving Captain America the what for. They're kind of on the ropes here, but then Portal comes out, said, I don't need anybody to fight my battles for me, at least Fallen Avenger. And Darkhawk, you got careless, let go of me, jerk, and he hits him with hits Vector with the Dark Force blast, and then Cap nails X-Ray with shield, and Darkhawk grabs Portal. They try to get some answers here. They're trying to figure out, I just want to talk to you. You owe me that. I owe no one anything. The things I've seen, the suffering I've endured, blah, 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 blah. You want suffering? I'll give you suffering, friend. And then he realizes he's threatening a guy who can barely walk. And then he brings up the armor. The armor you were wearing when we fought, some of it looked like mine. What do you know about it? Like, I fought someone who was wearing it. He tried to kill me. I got him first. I've got to go away, open a portal. It's not working. He thinks his power's gone, but he just has to try harder. opens up the portal, jumps through. Darkhawk starts to go with him because he wants to ask some more questions, but then he lets him go, and it's just him, Cap, and Daredevil. And then Darkhawk asks for some superhero-ly advice. How do you risk everything despite the fact that there are people who love you, count on you being there alive, and you do it for the ones you love and because it's right? Easy for perfect heroes like you guys to say, we're not perfect, Hawk. That's the whole point. So later, Chris is coming home. He's checking the mail. He thinks he won something for some reason. And then sure enough, who is it? Who knows my secret? What do they want? Beware the curse of the Darkhawk. Ah, scary. And again, as with most of these issues, that's a question that will be answered another day. And then you got scientists down here with Philip Bazin. Project Lodestone nearing completion. The Darkhawk power will soon be mine, and its wielder dead. So next issue, you actually get to see Project Lodestone in another pretty cool character that was created for the series. So you get to check that out. And then we've also got the return of Savage Steel coming up. And then we also get the Persistent Strike Force, which is a group I love. And I wish that they would use more of Marvel, but they don't. Probably because they're pretty lame characters. I think they haven't really appeared much outside of Darkhawk. But their appearance is coming up soon, and it's going to be awesome. So appreciate you guys listening. If there's anything you want to see, anything you want me to ramble on anymore, welcome. Take suggestions. This is totally a pet project of mine, so I'm willing to adjust stuff if needed based on any feedback and all that. So anyways, guys, thank you for listening, and until next time, stay dark.